top story. James Harden's a 76er. Ben Simmons is a net. The collateral damage in the deal sent Steph Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 future first-round picks to Brooklyn. Philly gets Harden and Paul, don't call me Ronnie Millsap. Ha ha! It's an old country music joke. Look it up, kids. When will Simmons play? Will he be worth the damn? Who knows? What does an Embiid Harden offense look like in Philly? Who knows? We do know it'll be must-see TV. And yes, they do have one remaining game, March 10th. Mark it on the calendars.
Let's go. The Dallas Mavericks traded center power forward Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for guard Spencer Dinwiddie and forward Davis Bertans. Dallas has hoped that Porzingis, who has battled injuries, including surgeries to both knees, was their guy to star alongside Luka Doncic, but it didn't come together for them. So the search continues for Dallas, while Washington, who lost Bradley Beal to season-ending wrist surgery, got a lot of sorting out of their lineup to do.
All right, let's move to the next top story. It's about who didn't make some moves. The Cavs, Nets, Bucks, 76ers were aggressive, but there were a few teams that needed to get better and stood pat. The Lakers, losers of 6 out of their last 8, did not pull the trigger on any moves at the trade deadline Thursday. There were rumors of a Russ trade, but no deal was made. In the East, the Knicks and Bulls were rumored to make a trade, but nothing materialized. So, there was no Ben Simmons action for those teams.
No Ben Simmons action. And speaking of him, Simmons was wanted out of Philly so bad he paid over $19 million in fines to date for not suiting up. He did dig his heels in 8 months later, and now he is packing his bags. Harden sat 3 games this week, but in his final game with the Nets, he scored 4 points in 37 minutes. That was against the Kings. Now he's off to Philadelphia to be reunited with 76ers Vice President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey, who was responsible for bringing him to Houston and now responsible for getting him to Philadelphia.
Let's get to a winner, and that's Joel Embiid. If you don't know this meme that Joel Embiid tweeted out after Simmons was traded, you do now. This photo was sent out with the caption, "I stopped by one of my biggest haters' funeral today, just to make sure he was gone." No love lost between those two, but I love the Twitter rivalry between them. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, Joel Embiid's Twitter is a place you must visit. Loser, 16 games. Now we can only wonder what if for the Nets. Had they really played together more than just 16 games? 1.5 years, very small sample size, not what they wanted when they put together this super team, but here we are, and now it remains to be seen.
Loser, last pick.
I'm gonna need some size for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some size and some defense in the interior.
Yeah.
Especially with Giannis and LeBron James
Without
playing
question.
such great basketball this year. I need somebody to offset that, so I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert.
I agree.
That worked out nicely for you.
That worked out nicely. I mean, you can't let people run through the lane and dunk all the time. Ask somebody to defend him.
He hasn't played. Is he healthy?
Who's that?
James, he hasn't played.
He's
what
missed-
happens if he doesn't?
He got traded. He's healthy now.
He's missed the last 3 with a hammy. See, and now we know why LeBron carries a clipboard with him to the
Hey,
draft.
LeBron,
Oh, my
trust me
gosh,
right now,
man.
he's rubbing some ice hot on that thing. He's playing the next game. No questions.
I can't with y'all.
I mean, that's a moment there from the All-Star draft where LeBron sets up KD to make sure that KD has the last pick and has to choose between Gobert and James Harden. Makes for a little bit of fun, obviously, through that process.
Yeah, I felt like Durant was a little bit annoyed in the beginning, obviously, because he's like, I don't want to have to choose. But at the same time, I felt like LeBron was kind of doing him a solid, keeping it cool, casual, laughing.
That's Shae just presuming the best out of everybody.
No?
But when you look at this trade, the question is, are we going to get the best out of anything? Like, I'll just say it. I think this is a blown moment for the Nets. I mean, if you look at the schedule remaining, KD's not going to be available till after the All-Star game. After the All-Star game, of the remaining 23 games, Kyrie Irving right now, according to vaccine regulation, would only be available for 10 of those games. So right now, we have no idea if we're getting a Ben Simmons that forgot how to shoot, that hasn't played any basketball since last summer. We don't know what his legs are going to be like. We don't know what his mental state's going to be like. And he may have to carry the load whenever he does come back. Like, I don't think it's a given that the Nets don't choke their way out of the playoffs at this point.
Okay, so a few things. In response to what you just said, I kind of said the same thing yesterday when Harden, before he was traded, obviously, when he was sitting out all these games or playing and only scoring 4 points. I'm like, he's putting his buddy at the time, Kevin Durant, in kind of a hole here. If he does get traded or he stays with this team, they're going to have to climb their way back out of this, 9-game losing streak at this point. So I hear what you're saying is they've got a long way to go, but Kevin Durant, in my opinion, is the best player in the NBA, and he's going to find a way to do it once he does get healthy. Also, it looks like all signs are pointing to possibly New York lifting that vaccine mandate, which would get Kyrie Irving back into the fold. You'd hope Ben Simmons, maybe he can't shoot. That's why you brought in Steph Curry. He can shoot. His last name's Curry. And also, he's a great defensive player, Ben Simmons is, which they need help with. Andre Drummond, a big body, also someone who can play some good defense. And so, in my opinion, I think the Nets won this trade. In the immediate, obviously that remains to be seen. This is a lot of gelling and chemistry, and can you still play the same way you used to situations going on? But as you mentioned earlier, we get a rematch. Well, a rematch of this new look Philadelphia team and a new look Brooklyn team on March 10th, and that will be must-see TV.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I disagree with you, though, quickly. I will say I think the 76ers won this trade because they got something for nothing. They were getting nothing out of Ben Simmons.
True.
Now they at least have James Harden. So let's see what they can do with that.
That is an absolute great point. And if Joel continues on the way he's been playing and James Harden's actually focused and interested, that 76ers team looks really good. However, the Nets were in action last night. They took on the Wizards just hours after this blockbuster trade happened. With KD still sidelined, Kyrie Irving was the only star on the Nets' makeshift roster. He finished with 31 points, 14 of them in the final frame as Brooklyn tried to mount a comeback. They almost succeeded, but Cam Thomas missed a three at the buzzer. Wizards won it 113-112. That's now 10 losses in a row for the Nets. I stand corrected. After the game, Kyrie Irving addressed the trade.
Now that's official, I think we could say our piece to James and wish him well. And, you know, ultimately for me, I just want everybody to be happy and you know, do things that they love to do and be a part of things that they can see themselves being successful at. And, you know, it probably wasn't here with us, and he made a choice, and we respect him for it. No love lost.
No love lost, and so we continue to go around the association here, catch you up on some things you might have missed that weren't trade-related in the NBA yesterday. Clippers and Mavs, and Luka Doncic didn't seem fazed by the trade earlier in the day that sent Kristaps Porzingis to Washington.
Yeah, which leaves him all by myself. Yeah, that's right. Luka, 28 of his career-high 51 in the first quarter where he hit 7 of 9 threes. Good God.
Dallas got the dub, 112-105, and you're right, it was all by himself in terms of what Luka was able to do. Let's just say I agree with this Mavericks tweet because it's kind of my catchphrase, Luka. That's a lot of points! 51 is a lot of points.
Oh, that's so good.
All right, Suns hosting the Bucks here, and this one is a word that we tend to use here on SportsNation.
Dunkerize. I like that. It's just fun to say. By the way, Dunkin' better than any other donut. Don't at me.
Oh, that is just a terrible take. DeAndre Ayton got a lob there from Chris Paul, slams down the dunk right in Giannis Antetokounmpo's face. As you can see, Suns win big over the Bucks, 131-107. No stopping Phoenix at this point. Knicks and Warriors, and Steph just doing what Steph does.
Yeah, he was being Jordan-esque, and I don't mean the Jordan that you love. No. I mean the other Jordan that you love as a Bulls fan. Curry with the nice move knocks Julius Randle to the ground, and Julius has nothing to do but just sit there and say, my bad.
Yeah, because this would be the Knicks that got the 2-point win, 116-114. So that knock on the ground, no big deal. All right, Grizzlies and Pistons, they were on the road, and it was what?
Let's go with a team effort, or no I in team, or teamwork to make the dream work, whichever one you want. 7 players in double figures for the Grizz. Ja leading the way as always with 23. Most Desmond Bane 22. The team's 8th 25-point win of the season. That's most in the NBA.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.